When we first meet Carlos and Sarah, it's clear that they share a unique dynamic. Carlos is a protective father, and Sarah, well, she's like that one toxic girl. Like, she's sheltered, naive, and fragile. Unlike Clementine, Sarah hasn't been prepared for the harsh realities of the world. But, like, how did it come to this? Carlos believes that shielding Sarah from the danger will keep her ass safe, which is dumb as fuck, but okay, do you her dad. But is that really the best way to protect her in a world like this? Hell no. From the beginning, Carlos set strict boundaries towards her. Like, he repeatedly tells her to stay out of trouble and rely on him for survival. This overprotectiveness stems from, his love, but it also leaves Sarah ill-equipped to even handle this world in the first place. Like, unlike Clementine, who had learned how, to become self-reliant and learn the lessons of becoming self-reliant, Sarah remains dependent on her father all the time. Carlos's overprotectiveness is rooted in fear though. He knows Sarah is emotionally vulnerable and struggles with anxiety, but she's not mentally prepared to face the world on her own though. But his solution is to shelter her. Just keep her from learning the truth about what's really out there. That was stupid to even do it in the first place. And anyway, is this man really a goddamn doctor? Cause how the word can you not tell a walker bite from a dog bite? Make it make sense.
Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah.
By shielding her from the dangers, Carlos unintentionally stunts her development. Sarah doesn't even learn how to defend herself, nor even understand the full extent of the threat of what they got going on in the first place. This man tries to keep her in a bubble, in a relic of the old world where innocence could still be protected, but in The Walking Dead, ignorance is a death sentence. Just ask Kate. The moment Carlos dies is the turning point for Sarah. Everything she knows, her entire support system, is ripped away in an instant. Without her father, Sarah is completely lost. She literally just shuts down in the face of danger, paralyzed by fear and grief. And this is where Carlos' greatest failure becomes evident. By never allowing her to even face the smallest of challenges or dangers on her own, he basically robbed this little girl of the tools that she needs to survive without him. Man, that man was gone, and guess what? That girl ain't knew what to do. She was just sitting there crisscross applesauce. She did not care about nothing no more. When the time come for her to actually step up and save herself, it's not that she can't. She just didn't want to. She literally just sat there, and depending on your choice, you could have just left her ass dead to die, or you could have saved her just for her to die later. Like the choice to even let her live or not, it don't even matter because she died either way. Like, the word is too overwhelming and too damn terrified for. Let me tell you something, it does not even matter. What was the point of even making that choice to save her anyway, just for her to die later on? That was so stupid. In the end, Sarah's fate is sealed by the very thing Carlos wanted to avoid: her inability to actually survive in this unforgiving world by herself. Carlos wanted to protect his daughter, and I respect that, but in doing so, he unintentionally doomed her. Contrast this with Clementine, who, despite her age, was taught to fend for herself, make tough decisions, and navigate the horrors of the apocalypse. That's why we all love Lee, man. Lee to go for real. But where Sarah, she was coddled. Clementine was forced to mature quickly, and while it was harsh, it was necessary for her survival. The tragedy of Sarah's story isn't just that she lost her father, it's the fact that she was never even given a chance to grow. Carlos's failure wasn't in loving Sarah too much, but in believing that he could actually protect her forever in a world overrun by walkers. Survival means adaptation, and adaptation means learning how to goddamn deal with fear, loss, and danger head on. It's a heartbreaking story, but it also teaches us something about parenting in a world where danger lurks around every corner. You can't always protect your loved ones from harm now, but you can give them the strength and tools to protect themselves just in case if your time comes, or hell, you might out of nowhere just get bitten, or hell, even get killed off early. Ultimately, Carlos failed Sarah, not because he didn't care about her, but because he cared too much about her. In his attempt to shield her from the world's horrors, he left her vulnerable to them. And in the world of The Walking Dead, being vulnerable means the difference between life and death. So RIP to Sarah and RIP to Carlos, but god dang it, Carlos, you failed your daughter, I'm sorry.
Oh, almost forgot. I grabbed this for you. What do you think?
Stop it. Get some help.
When it comes to hate is a strong word, but I absolute hate Bonnie in season 2. She was literally the cause of everything. But it's crazy because I used to like her. Like at first glance, you know, in the 400 Days DLC, when they introduced her, she was nothing but a troubled young woman who was a drug addict. Well, was a drug addict, who was caught in the love triangle during the apocalypse. At first, I ain't gonna lie, I liked her. You know, she was vulnerable, she was caught in a bad time in bad situations, and clearly she was trying to do better. But god damn it, when season 2 came along, man, when she betrayed us after giving her supplies for her supposed family she was trying to help, and she came in with Carver's group and then captured us and took us to Carver's camp, I ain't gonna lie, I was hurt.
How the fuck you think I feel? Don't ask no dumbass questions.
Get it all out. Get it all out.
I don't feel like shit right now. Fuck you think I feel amazing. They took a loss. I mean, yeah. We fucking lost. We were supposed to win. We better than that. We had a minor discrepancy on what was going on. They got us. They outcoached us. They outplayed us. And we took a L, and we're going to take our L like we take our W's. We're not going to be sore losers. We wish them good luck. Whoever wins it all, much success. It's just heartbreaking when you know that you could have, would have, should have, and you didn't. But it is what it is. We took the L. Elroy Jetson and my nephew T-Dad. We will be back, you rat soup eating motherfuckers.
Don't even get me started with these apologies. Every time Bonnie apologizes, it just feels empty. She constantly makes excuses for her actions, always falling back on, oh, I didn't know better, shut the fuck up. But after a while, it feels like she just using that shit as a shield. It's like she wants to play victim every time, in every situation, and at some point, you just ain't buying that shit, man. Fuck you, Bonnie. I swear she act like a little girl sometimes. Girl, you are not naive, bruh. You are a whole ass adult who should be able to recognize danger and manipulation. But instead of owning up to her goddamn choices, Bonnie just constantly shifts the blame or seeks sympathy. Like, nigga, Lord knows how old you is. Hell, you look dang near 50 to 100. But goddamn, Clementine is like, what, 10, 11, 12 years old in season 2, and yet she was more mature than your bitch ass. And then it's that scene. That one scene that just sparked it all for me.
I gotcha.
Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah.
If you played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When Luke is trapped in the ice, Bonnie pressured Clementine, of all people, to actually go out there and help him. A child walking on cracking ice to save an adult. That nigga Luke said, just chill, just stay right there, I'll get up. To be honest, if Bonnie never went up there, Luke probably wouldn't have made it. He probably would have got up. Like that was so stupid of Bonnie, to be honest with you. And you know what's worse? That nigga Luke died either way, whether you save him or not. And you know what's even better? RP Luke. But if you choose not to save Luke and actually listen to Jane, guess what? Not only Bonnie fucking falls in the fucking lake, whatever the shit called, with Luke, she also dies with Luke. So god damn it, that part was a blessing in disguise. Man, that girl Bonnie literally died if you didn't save Luke. And guess what? No one didn't even mention her dying when she died with Luke, depending on your choice. That shit was crazy. And you know what? That's a good thing.
Praise the Lord, yeah!
Let's just face it. It was bound to happen with or without Clem's help. That junk was reckless and irresponsible, and worst of all, he died anyway. Rest in peace, Luke. And Bonnie, if she survived, she had a nerve to blame Clementine.
That's some bullshit.
That was the moment where I just truly couldn't stand her ass no more. Like, she was a grown ass woman who refused to take responsibility for her bad call, instead pushing the guilt to an innocent ass child. And I could in the video right here, but I'll regret it if I haven't added this scene right here. The scene where I just truly just wanted to end it all right here for everybody. That nigga Arvo, that nigga Mike, and Bonnie, once again for the second time, backstab my ass.
It's fine. Just
Go.
Don't you touch me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Fucking bitch, yeah, get his ass, fucking pussy! Try the fuck again, bitch! Try the fuck again!
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
No, fuck that! On everything, y'all got me fucked up! On my mama, y'all got me fucked up!
Overall, Bonnie was just selfish. I get it. The Walking Dead is all about survival and people make mistakes, but Bonnie seems consistently put herself first, even when it endangers others. Whether it's her goddamn loyalty to Carver, or her goddamn blame shifting, or her failure to take responsibility for her own fucking actions. Man, Bonnie feels like someone who's more concerned with covering her own mistakes than learning from them. Now, I know some people will argue that Bonnie tries to redeem herself, and okay, I get it. You know, when it comes to Telltale and these goddamn characters, there are a handful and complex, and nobody is perfect in this world, but for me, that damage has been done. Man, come on, man, she backstabbed us twice. Twice. It's one thing to do it once, but twice, my nigga? For that, I just can't forgive her. Her actions just felt too harmful. Her apologies was too hollow. And by the end of the game, whether she lives or dies, I found myself just not caring about her no more. I don't even care about her fate. Maybe that's harsh, but for me, Bonnie was a character who could have been so much more, but ultimately just felt like a source of frustration and disappointment. Similar to Larry fat ass.
What the?
Can't wait for you to get to Savannah, Clementine. I got your parents right here. And you be sure to find me, whether Lee wants you to or not. Now, what I need...
Hey, bro, come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Throughout the game, The Walking Dead Telltale carefully builds tension between Lee, Clementine, and an unknown voice communicating through a walkie-talkie all throughout episode 5. While we know Clementine's parents are out of reach and dead basically, someone else has been taking a disturbing interest in her. Pause. But who is this nigga? And more importantly, why? Well, it's this man right here, the Stranger, who in my opinion is the most darkest villain in Telltale's The Walking Dead. You know, the Stranger's voice is unsettling, yet it's the quiet patience in his approach that leaves everyone on edge. You know, he doesn't, immediately attack, manipulate, or threaten like characters like Joan or the St. Johns. Instead, he buys his time, observing Lee's every fucking move. Like, it's this slow burn that makes the twist so chilling though. And then the reveal even made it even better storyline wise, because in the heart-pounding climax of the game, we learn that this man, this random weird dude that's talking to a walkie-talkie, talking to this little ass girl, turns out he's been following Lee and Clementine because of the choices we made. The bit shock you may ask, he's not just some random antagonist, he's just a regular dude whose life was ruined by Lee's group. And, it's personal to him and I wouldn't blame him. But god damn, that twist was so goddamn good, cause I would never ever expect for the last final villain to be the same nigga that we stole from. That shit was crazy. The revelation forces us to confront the consequences of our actions. From the moment Lee decided to take the food, whether you take it or not, he's still gonna be on your ass about it. If you take the food, he'll be like, you stole that food from us. But if you don't, he gonna be like, oh, you didn't, but your goddamn group did. Like, nigga, like you can't win, cause bro gonna keep on turning that shit around on you, and he did that shit so well too. Like, for the moment that, if Lee did decide to take the food from the stranger's car in episode 2, a ripple effect would be set in motion. A family was destroyed. That man's family was destroyed. And now that nigga behind that loss, man, that man is seeking revenge bad. And bro is a better man than me, cause that man was so patient with that shit too. That's what made that shit so weird. The amount of self-control that man had to actually plot and wait for this man at the right time to get their ass while they lacking, that shit was so fucking goddamn outrageous. That nigga is crazy. And don't even get me started what he had in his goddamn purse. What makes this twist so effective is how personal it feels. In most games, an antagonist shows up, does their villain thing, and then they just move on, or they die. But here, the Stranger is a direct product of your own decisions. Whether you stole from him or not, the game still creates an overwhelming sense of guilt because, you know, the stranger represents something larger. The moral weight of survival in a post-apocalyptic world. Bro fell victim to that shit so bad at the worst time too, because apparently his son died, but instead he just said his son got lost. And man, his wife did not like that shit. His wife and daughter left his ass and then come back to gain her trust. He could have gained her trust, but no, the shit from the goddamn RV or van, station wagon, whatever you want to call it, all that food was gone. Oh, imagine the pain that man felt. The stranger isn't just some generic ass villain. He's broken, hurt, and desperate. That man lost feel real, man. And that's what hits so hard. You know, we are used to making tough decisions in The Walking Dead, Telltale. But the stranger's appearance forces us to realize that those choices have real human consequences for real. And let's not forget Clementine's role in this. The stranger manipulates her innocence and trust, trying to convince her that Lee is the villain of the story. This is where the emotional goddamn stakes skyrocket. You know, Clementine, who we spent the entire game protecting, is suddenly caught in the middle of this shit. Let's not, man, if it wasn't for this man, Lee would not have been bit. Clementine would have stayed her ass in the goddamn house, and they all would have went home scot-free. But now that motherfucker had other plans. In a game all about choices, the stranger twist is the ultimate payoff. You know, it's a reminder that in a world like The Walking Dead, Telltale, there are no truly good or bad decisions. Every action has consequences, and sometimes those consequences come back to haunt you in the most unexpected ways. Man, I'm about to run out of stories. Let's get this shit over with quick. So why is the stranger the biggest plot twist in Telltale's The Walking Dead? Because it's not just a twist. It's like a reflection of like our own choices. It forces us to confront the idea that, you know, survival comes with sacrifice, and that in the end, every decision we make carries a goddamn cost. And this man's the definition of it. Molly was introduced in episode 4 of season 1's Telltale's The Walking Dead. She was introduced as a lone wolf survivor in Savannah. With her agility, intelligence, and unmatched combat skills, especially her use of the ice axe, she immediately stands out. Unlike most characters in Telltale's The Walking Dead, Molly doesn't just survive, she thrives as well, and she is without a doubt gonna beat Jane in a fight. I don't know what's up with these debates on TikTok between her and Jane. Nigga, Jane don't got shit on Molly. Molly is clapping that ass. Her backstory reveals her motivation. She's fiercely independent and emotionally scarred by her sister's death, and by the horrors she witnessed in Crawford. Molly is exactly the kind of character who could evolve into something even greater, similar to Carly. Her past with Crawford shows her depth. Someone hardened by trauma, yet still capable of compassion. We see her protective side when she talks about her sister, and her disgust when it comes to talking about the ruthless society that was Crawford. This complex backstory sets up the potential for more development, but sadly, that's where the road ends.
Yeah, I'm about to head out. I just wanted to say thanks for everything. It's been fun.
Huh? After helping Lee and the group, Molly just left. Like, she didn't even want to stay. Instead of hopping on the boat with us, she just wanted to be gone. She wanted to leave for some dumb reason. Like, she quickly vanished as soon as she arrived. And here's the tragedy. Despite being one of the most interesting characters, she just left, and she was just gone without any type of real closure, and we never saw her ass again. We never even mentioned her again. Telltale literally had the perfect opportunity to bring her back in later seasons, along with Krista for some, like, where is Krista? Like, people saying she dead, but, like, where's the clarification in that? Like, where is Krista? But anyway, back to Molly. In a world where trust is rare, Molly could have played an intriguing role similar to Carly, perhaps as a mentor to Clementine, along with Carly, Kenny, Lee. Just imagine all them in season 2. Ain't nobody stopping that group. That's the dream team right there. As a matter of fact, I take that back, because either way, Lee could die at the end of season 1. I take that back. How about Carly, Molly, and Clementine? Imagine Molly helping Clementine navigate the dangers of growing up in this brutal world. She'll be a better mentor than fucking Jane. And Kenny, no disrespect to Kenny in season 2, but she could have been a better mentor than Kenny. Instead, we got nothing. No mention of her fate, no reappearance, no deeper dive into her character. It's as if Telltale creating a compelling character only to abandon her after one Weasley-ass episode. So what could have been? Imagine Molly's return in season 2 or even the final season. Picture her reuniting with Clementine, guiding her or challenging her worldview. She could have been a perfect bridge between Lee's lessons and the person that Clementine could become. There's so much to explore with Molly's skills, her moral complexity, and her approach to survival. Imagine Clementine with Molly's skills, man. Clementine would be so much more of a badass than she already is. Her story arc could have provided rich narrative possibilities. Perhaps she would have had to face the consequences of her ruthless independence, or maybe she could have become a leader, showing us how one person can evolve in an unforgiving world. Molly had the potential to become a mainstay in the series, an ally, an adversary, or something more nuanced. Her departure, though unsatisfying, left a gap in the series, a gap that could have been filled with powerful moments, more dilemmas, and character growth. Telltale's decision not to bring this Hall of Fame worthy of a goddamn character back was a missed opportunity to enrich the story. Molly is a character who left a mark in a short amount of time, but ultimately her potential was squandered. In the vast universe of Telltale's The Walking Dead, she could have been a more vital player in the ongoing struggle for survival, a character we rooted for, feared, and admired. But instead, she's a fleeting fucking memory cry for in the shadows of fucking Savannah. Lord knows what she gave. For all we know, she could be dead. We don't know what happened to her. Molly mattered because she represented something rare in Telltale's The Walking Dead. She was a character who wasn't even broken by her circumstances, but forced into something more. Despite what she went through, she kept on pushing. Her ability to take care of herself yet remain compassionate made her stand out. Characters like Molly challenge the notion that survival means losing your humanity. For years, well, I would say years, but for some time, that girl just literally been Naruto ninja, but she was a whole ninja out there. She was a whole ninja out there just scoping around, grabbing her supplies and stuff like that. That girl be alright. But I'm still kind of mad that she didn't came with us, but hey man, it is what it is. And the fact that they even brought her up in any of the later seasons just low-key makes me even mad even more. Made me want to go Super Saiyan. Let's just talk about the main traits of Ben. His fear of failure. For the moment he joins the group, he's already out of his depth. He's not a survivalist, he's not a leader, he's not even a fucking fighter. And, like many of us in real life, he's terrified of letting others down. When Ben admits to stealing the supplies that caused the Bennett raid, we see a scared little man, well not little man but a teenager, who thought he was doing something that was right for some reason, but was too afraid to admit it when it all went wrong. How many of us actually made a bad goddamn choice only to panic and try to cover it up, or making things worse? Ben represents the fear of making a mistake, a fear that can actually paralyze us too. To be honest, I could rant about this man all day. I could talk all the shit in the world. Hell, I could be like Berlizzi and be like, is this nigga serious? But nah, Ben isn't just afraid of failure, he's consumed by guilt too. His decisions led to the deaths of people in the group, literally. And that way nearly crushes this man's spirit for real. Hell, even Kenny got on this man's ass, dating about to beat his skinny ass. This is a feeling many people can relate to though. The suffocating guilt of knowing that your actions, even if unintentional, can even hurt others too. Even I know how this shit feel. Guilt is a powerful emotion, and Telltale nailed this shit. They knocked the ball with this shit with Ben's character. This man constantly just messes shit up. This man second guesses himself. Hell, he even blamed himself for all the tragedies that even spiral out of his control, which was mostly his fault to be honest. But in life, when things go wrong, we ought to do the same. We become our own worst critics, even if we couldn't even predicted the outcome. Throughout the series, Ben struggles with feeling like an outsider. You know, he's younger, even though Clementine was younger, she had Lee, but you know, he was less capable than Clementine because she had Lee, and he knows it. You know, the group constantly reminds this man, unintentionally or intentionally or not, that he's nothing more than just a burden. This is something that just resonates with many people, you know, feeling like we don't quite, you know, belong, we don't fit in, you know, we feel like that, you know, we're not good enough, or that we're holding others back, or holding yourself back as well. Like, I ain't gonna lie, they were doing being dirty from the get-go. Like, damn, from the get-go, they wasn't even, from the get-go, they wasn't doing this. They're doing it, man, dirty, man, goddamn, man, shit, motherfucker. Doing it, man, dirty like that. Like, damn. Like, from the beginning, they were doing it, man, dirty. They don't, man, don't got no sense, man. You know, many players, such as myself, you know, we just feel frustrated with Ben sometimes because this man just makes mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Like, mistakes that others wouldn't. But that's what makes that man so human out of all the characters, for real. You know, this man represents the feeling of not being equipped for the challenges life throws at you. That man was just on his way to goddamn Macon just to play basketball. That man was supposed to be hooping that day. But then the zombie apocalypse happened out of nowhere. Then nigga don't know what to do. Nigga had hoop dreams. Bro was trying to be MJ. Not no goddamn Rick Grimes. But sometimes we are just in over our heads, and no matter how hard we try, we just feel like we're failing. Despite his mistakes, Ben desperately wants to prove himself. He doesn't want to be the weak link of the group. He just wants to be someone they can rely on. But let's be honest, that man just make it hard, cause goddamn, you had Clementine, you and Clementine was surrounded in that wall. Hell, you could have picked Clementine little ass up and just fucking jog right on with lead him. Man, you ain't had to run away and leave her by herself. Like, god dang, like, okay, I get you was scared and all, but man, come on, man, that's Clementine. You could have just picked her up and just fucking ran to Lee. That's all you had to do. Just give it to her like a baby. Just pick up Clem, run up to Lee, then give it to her. That's all you had to do, but now you just run away. So I'll admit, sometimes that man just make it hard for everybody to like him. But like, come on, man, like he just wants to be accepted for real. But he makes it hard though, that's the problem. Like this desire to step up to prove your worth is something many of us struggle with in real life though. Whether it's at work or in relationships or hell, even, you know, in our personal goals. His moment of vulnerability on the rooftop with Lee and crew was a turning point. Like, he admits that he's tired of messing up, tired of being a screw up, and let's be honest, who hasn't felt that at some point in your life? The fear that no one matters to you is never enough. In the end, Ben's story is a tragic one. Whether you like him or hate him, whether you saved him or you didn't save him, his art is about accepting who he is, flaws and all. You know, he may never be the hero, but that doesn't mean that his efforts don't matter. It's just a reflection of life sometimes. It's not about being perfect, but about trying your best, even when you feel like you're constantly failing. Other than a few moments here and there, I can't see how people like this man. Sure, okay, he entertaining for the most part, but come on, man, from the moment we meet Larry in the pharmacy, his embrace of personality is impossible to ignore. This man is loud, opinionated, and constantly at the odds with our protagonist, Lee Everett. But it's not just his grumpy ass attitude that makes Larry hard to like, but it's also his personality as a whole. Like, this man Larry is so quick to judge, especially towards Lee. This man threatens him, questioning him about his past, and immediately creates tension in the group. Sure, it's the apocalypse and everyone's on edge, but Larry just takes hostility to a whole new level for no fucking reason. One of the primary reasons why, well, I won't say just people but me as well, dislike about Larry is his irrational ass hatred for Lee. Right from the start, this man don't like Lee. This man even distrusts Lee, even threatening to like expose his criminal, man, nigga, who gives a fuck? But anyway, despite Lee constantly tries to, and it's crazy cause you can try to be nice to this man still just do your ass dirty. Like, that shit crazy. But despite Lee consistently acting in the group's best interest, Larry remains suspicious and aggressive. This personal vendetta isn't just uncalled for, it's just plain out stupid. Like, come on, man, you out here judging niggas all because of their criminal past. Man, get over it. Get over it. Larry's judgment is so harsh, and he refuses to acknowledge Lee's efforts, which naturally makes people already resent him anyway.
I know who you are, and I don't give a shit about what happens to you. But if anything happens to my daughter or that little girl you've got with you, you watch your ass.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Shut the fuck up, you nasty bitch.
Nobody gives a shit.
Can you shut the fuck up?
Boy, if you don't...
Shut your...
And don't even get me started on that one scene where he outright punched Lee. When he literally saved Clementine from a walker, this man literally punched Lee. Like, look at him, look, he running. Watch this. Grabbed his ass. He said, "You ain't coming to us, bitch. Get your bitch ass on it." Man, what? Man, nigga, why you did that for? That man literally just punched Lee. And then that nigga Lee literally about to get ready to die. Until the nigga Kenny stepped in like a real nigga and killed that walker before grab his damn hand. Come on, man. That shit did it for me. And don't get me started with episode 2. I swear to God, I killed his ass. With no hesitation, I killed him. In a world where trust and cooperation are vital for survival, Larry's reckless actions put everyone at risk. This man not just a jerk. This man not just a bitch ass nigga. He's a danger to the group. And yet want to call Lee a danger to the group. But meanwhile, you the one that just crashing out for no reason. This man Larry reminds me of one of my friends. This man would literally crash out about the most stupidest shit ever. I literally walked up with the nigga in the hallway in school, and I realized that bro ain't really as tall as I thought he was. Maybe it's because of a distance thing, and we both actually walking side by side each other. This man took that shit so personal. That man literally was about to get ready to crash out. Getting loud in the hallway for no reason. And then a nigga came up out of nowhere and said, "Why you so loud?" And bro like, "So, this shut your bitch ass up. You ain't worrying about nobody. You ain't worrying nobody. Fuck you getting loud for. Anybody worrying about you, boy. You ain't gonna do shit." I ain't gonna lie. I'm starting to question my friendship with this nigga. Cause this man got mad over a height. All I said was, "You ain't as tall as I originally thought you were." Cause we was sitting by, we're walking side by side in the hallway. That nigga ain't my friend, to be honest. I might cut that nigga off. Ain't no goddamn sense. That nigga really about to get ready to crash out about some height. Nigga, you are skinny. I can't stand tall niggas that's skinny and yet think nigga beat a nigga ass. Shut your dumb ass up. You ain't gonna do shit to me, boy. Now, some might argue that Larry's only redeeming quality is his relationship with his daughter Lily. And that's the only thing he has. That is his only redeeming quality. And yes, we do get the glimpses of his protective side when it comes to her, but that still don't justify shit. To be honest, Lily is his only coping mechanism for acting the way he fucking act. But even this doesn't redeem him though. You know, instead it highlights how hypocritical and self-serving he is. Larry is willing to do anything and everything for Lily, but that same compassion never extends to anyone else. You know, his narrow-mindedness prevents him from actually growing as a character, leaving him stagnant, bitter, and ultimately alone. Now, when Larry suffered from that heart attack in the meat locker, I ain't gonna lie, that forced everyone into one of the most tense decisions in the damn series. Do you even try to save him, or do you actually help him? I ain't gonna lie, I actually killed that motherfucker. I ain't give a fuck. I ain't gonna lie, I was so emotional my first playthrough. I actually killed that nigga. I didn't give a fuck. I went ahead and I went ahead and got Lee to push Lily back a little bit, and I went ahead and let Kenny do what he had to do. So to be honest with you, I was on Kenny's side. But even then I was like, man, I hate him, but nah, I can't let bro go out like that. But the first time, I let that nigga die, I ain't kill. What makes this moment stand out is how little sympathy I had for this man. I mean, some people actually had sympathy. You know, they showed him a little kindness. They were like, nah, I wouldn't go out like that. So they would have helped Lily save them, but it didn't even matter anyway, cause Kenny still smashed a nigga head in. But for me, by that point, the constant bullying, short temper, and dangerous behavior that man had burned nearly every goddamn bridge. Man, fuck that nigga, I ain't care. Man, most people didn't even hesitate to side with Kenny, seeing Larry's potential death as one less. Oh, I want that nigga gone so bad, I'm sorry. Hey, it's a strong word, but I wanted him up out of here, I'm sorry. I appreciate some people having a heart and choosing to, side with Lily and try to save Lily, but not me. I couldn't do it. I don't care! While it's a morally great moment, many people find it difficult to justify trying to save anyone who has nothing but a burden and a threat to the group. That man is more of a threat than Lee ever was, and bro just kept on hassling Lee for no reason. In the end, Larry's antagonism, violent tendencies, and complete lack of empathy make him one of the most unlikable characters in Telltale's The Walking Dead. In a game where choices actually matter, Larry's actions push people to the edge, making his fate feel more like a relief than a goddamn tragedy. He may not been a villain, but goddammit, Larry is undoubtedly the one character that, you just love to hate, man. I ain't gonna lie. But RP to Larry though, his bitch ass.
It ain't polite to listen to other folks' conversations. Has anyone ever taught you that?
No, stop! Don't hit my friend!
You don't want to test me, girl. I'll pass every time.
Carver is not like your typical apocalyptic tyrant. While many villains in the zombie fiction world are purely evil or driven by selfish survival, Carver operates on a dangerous combination of ambition, survival instinct, and twisted sense of morality. This man genuinely believes that his way is the best way, not only for himself, but for those around him. Like, bro literally put paws on females for no fucking reason. Like for Clementine, for example, when he smacked the shit out of her. One thing that sets Carver apart from the other villains is his charisma. He's not just like a brute force leader, he's a manipulator. You know, he knows how to twist situations to his advantage, how to justify his actions in a way that can even make us as players pause and think, like, is this nigga really wrong? Like, honestly, with this, like, playing with this man, I feel threatened. For some reason, I feel threatened. Like, goddamn, like, you can be minding your own business, being that shot, doing all your work. Then all of a sudden, the nigga will be on your ass for no reason. And don't even get me started with Troy. Like, take for instance, like, his interactions with Clementine throughout, you know, episode 2. Well, episode 1. Was it? It don't even matter. Basically, throughout the game, Carver tries to influence her, you know, planting seeds in her head about the group that she's with. You know, he sees potential in Clementine, and he even tries to mold her into like a female version of him, you know, who is strong, pragmatic, and even willing to do whatever it takes to survive. Of course, what truly solidifies Carver as a good-ass villain is his sheer brutality. You know, he's not afraid to like use violence or even excessive force just to make his point. Like, for example, when he beat Kenny out with that goddamn walkie-talkie. God damn, how the fuck it? Ooh, I could imagine how that shit feel. But yeah, like, whether it's executing someone right in front of the group, depending on your choice, they did Alvin the same way right in front of Rebecca. But like, for real though, like, this man was just like, he's not crazy because he's so calm with it. That's just like, he's just cold for no reason. Like, his leadership is like built on fear, but to him it's necessary because he believes that, you know, in the world overrun by walkers, the only way to survive is being strong and fearless. You know, only the strongest survive, and the ruthless must like survive. I guess, like, that's probably why so many good characters throughout Telltale and Walking Dead always die, because, you know, they're so nice from the old good, like Carly and Luke, for example. And that's where Carver becomes such a complex character to me. You know, he's not just killing for the sake of it, he's enforcing a system, one he believes will ensure humanity's survival. To Carver, weakness is a liability, and sentimental is like a flaw to him. You know, people under his rule aren't just followers, they are resources, his henchmen, their right-hand mans, basically his D-riders, like bro, basically like his glazers, to be honest with you, if there's anything that I can put into the term. But yeah, and if you like can't contribute to the group, or, you know, even don't even obey by whatever he say, nigga, you out of here, you gone, you dead, bye-bye. But despite his cruelty, there is an undeniable logic to Carver's philosophy. In the chaos of the apocalypse, the moral lines are blurred. Players are forced to confront difficult questions. Is Carver really evil, or is he just simply a product of the world he lives in? You know, his approach may be harsh, but in a world where survival is everything, could his methods at work? Yes, but in a way that he did it, it was too much. Even in his death, Carver leaves a lasting impact. His brutal execution at the hands of Kenny is one of the most intense scenes in the game, not just because of his violence, but because it shows the consequences of Carver's influence. His reign of terror forced everyone around him to confront their own morality and what they are willing to do to survive. Like, bro, I ain't gonna lie, even though Clem was a youngin', I still stayed and just watched Carver get his ass told. Oh, nigga, Kenny beat his fucking face in with that crowbar. I was like, beat that nigga ass! Get him! Get him! Get him!
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's killing me! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
In the end, what makes Carver the best villain in Telltale Walking Dead is not because he's a mindless monster, because unlike other villains, he's actually aware of what he's doing. He's not evil just for the sake of being evil. He's calculated, charismatic, and even like chillingly rational when it comes to his decisions. He represents a terrifying possibility of what people can become when survival is all that matters. And perhaps the scariest part, deep down, Carver is a reflection of the world he lives in, a world where morality is as dead as the walkers themselves. At first, Violet comes across as a, cold and closed-off introvert, which makes sense in the world that she lives in. She been through a lot. She been through trauma, loss, and the horrors in the apocalypse. But like many characters in the world, she built walls to protect herself. But underneath all that tough exterior, Violet is probably gonna be one of the most kindest souls you'll ever meet in the goddamn series. In this contrast, that makes Violet so intriguing. She's tough, yes, but that toughness has a deep well of compassion, loyalty, and an intense need to protect those she cares about. Speaking of, one of Violet's defining traits is her loyalty. In a world where trust is scarce, Violet stands by those she loves, especially Clementine depending on your choice, and the kids of the Harrison boarding school for troubled youth. She's a protector, willing to go through great lengths to keep her people safe, whether it's standing up against the external threats or even helping a group navigate tough decisions. Violet's loyalty never wavers. Even in moments of disagreement, Violet's actions are rooted in her desire to protect. She isn't afraid to challenge the group when she believes it's for the greater good, but she's also willing to sacrifice her own comfort to make sure the people she loves are safe. But where Violet truly shines is in those soft, subtle moments, the times where she allows herself to be vulnerable and let others in, whether it's her blossoming relationship with Clementine or moments where she opens up about her past. These glimpses into Violet's heart shows us the real person behind the walls. There's just something about Violet's vulnerability that makes her incredibly relatable. She's been hurt just like everyone else, but she still finds it within herself to care, to love, and to connect. Violet's connection with Clementine is one of the most memorable parts of the final season of Telltale to Walking Dead. Whether you choose to pursue a romantic relationship with her or not, it's undeniable that she and Clem share a special bond. Violet's care for Clementine is one of the things that shows her true colors. She doesn't just see Clementine as a leader, but someone she wants to protect and be close to. In a world where so much is taken from you, finding someone to trust and care for is everything, and that's exactly what Violet and Clem find in each other. What makes Violet such a sweetheart is her ability to care deeply, even when the world gives her every reason not to. She's the kind of character who, despite her flaws and rough edges, she's full of love. And it's this love that makes her stand out as one of the most likable characters in the final season of Telltale's Walking Dead. Hell, the whole entire goddamn series in general. In a world as broken as The Walking Dead's, finding someone who still believes in love, loyalty, and friendship is rare. Violet is that rare gem, tough but caring, broken but still hopeful. And that's why we'll always remember her as one of the true nicest people in the series. Hell, one of the true sweethearts of the series as well.
Never mind the darkness. Never mind the storm. Never mind the blood-red moon. The night will be over soon. The night will be over soon.
If anybody's actually back there. Probably get a better view from up top. You'd have an easier time getting up there. You feel like taking a look? It'd be just like climbing a treehouse.
What am I? A monkey?
Hey, you said it, not me.
Whoa, 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 whoa! For the moment Luke was introduced, he stands out as a capable, compassionate leader. But unlike others in the group, Luke consistently prioritizes the safety and well-being of others, especially Clementine. He helps rescue her in the early on in the season after that goddamn dog, you son of a bitch, and quickly became one of the most trusted figures in her life. Luke is often contrasted with Kenny, where Kenny is impulsive and prone to, emotional outbursts. Luke is level-headed and pragmatic. This dynamic sets him up as a viable and alternative leader, basically like the second coming of Lee, but he's nowhere in Lee's level, let's be honest. but one could, who could guide the group without even resorting to violence or emotional manipulation like Chad. Put that hoe. But despite this potential, the game never fully allowed Lou to actually step into that leadership role. He frequently finds himself overshadowed by Kenny's larger than life personality and the emotional baggage that comes with Kenny's art. Oh my god, Kenny. Kenny, it's a tough one. It's tough being a Kenny fan, because you got some that be like, oh, he's a crash out, he crazy. Then there's some that be like, oh, he got a family, he this and that. Look, man, can we all just be friends?
Hey, stop the violence. Hey, look at me. I can promise you, it's a bigger side of life. Stop the violence.
Luke is constantly put in a position where he must compromise his ideals for the sake of the group's survival, yet he never truly gets a chance to shine as a leader. The narrative leads heavily on Kenny's turmoil, pushing Luke's development to the sidelines. One of the most frustrating aspects of Luke's character is how little we get to know about his backstory. He give us a little teensy pieces here and there about his father, and the fact that he went to college, which was with a stupid ass degree for art and shit. Man, he wasn't gonna do nothing with that degree. While we get glimpses of his life before the apocalypse, his struggles, regrets, and connections, they are often brief and lack depth. Luke's relationship with his former group members, especially Nick, is underdeveloped. We see the tension and loyalty between them, but the game never dives deep, into their history, leaving a lot of emotional potential on the table. Why was Luke so dedicated to Nick despite their obvious differences? What shaped him into, the compassionate leader that he is? These questions are left unanswered, making Luke feel like a missed opportunity for deeper storytelling. I ain't gonna lie, season 2 as a whole, writing-wise, was just a goddamn mess. But back to topic. For a character that plays such a vital role in season 2, it's disappointing that Luke's backstory wasn't more fleshed out. This lack of depth robbed him of the emotional connection that other characters like Kenny received in Shades. And then it's that scene that sparked it all for me. The scene that still to this day pisses me off because it could have been avoided. But now you got a little idiot on the goddamn group, and we all know what her name is, wanting to try to save the nigga even though he said step the fuck back.
Dummy. Yeah. Yeah. Dummy. Yeah. Yeah. Dummy. Yeah. Yeah.
Luke's death in The Walking Dead is one of the most controversial moments of the damn series, nigga. Damn! During the late scene, Luke falls through the ice, and despite Clementine's efforts to save him, he tragically drowns. This death felt unearned, Luke had survived countless dangerous situations, showing time and time after again that he was resourceful and intelligent. Yet he meets his end in a situation where his survivor instincts failed his ass. Not due to personal mistakes or meaningful choice, but due to a moment of bad luck. What makes this worse is how quickly the group moves on from his death. Kenny and Jane's conflict takes center stage immediately after, and Luke's passing barely affects the rest of the story. For such a pivotal character, his death should have had a lasting impact on the group, particularly on Clementine, but instead it felt like his story was abruptly cut short, almost as if the writers didn't know how to resolve his arc. Luke deserved a more meaningful end, one that reflected his importance to the group and the role he played in Clementine's life. Not similar to Lee, but somewhat emotional or some shit like that, nigga. His death was a missed opportunity for the game to actually explore themes of sacrifice and leadership. But I also heard was that the reason why the writers even wrote off Root to die anyway was because there was some weird ass niggers that was fucking shipping Luke with Clementine, man. Yeah, I can kind of understand why, but because that's weird. That's weird ass niggers in this world. You gotta be careful. I will make this vid longer, but honestly, I'm not gonna waste y'all time. In the end, Luke was a character with so much potential. He was the voice of reason in a world of chaos. A character who could have grown into an even greater leader if given a chance. His compassion, his moral compass, and his dedication to the group set him apart. yet the game never allowed him to actually reach his full potential. First off, Joan is annoyingly one-dimensional. We had some fantastic multi-layered villains like the St. John's, Carver, hell, even season 4 Lily in the final season, but hell, even the governor from the comics. But Joan, she's just a typical power-hungry politician. Like, she feels more like an obstacle than a true villain. There's no complex motivation behind her actions other than a desire for control and keeping her twisted system going. No deeper backstory, no internal conflict, just a bland ass, self-righteous leader who abuses her authority. And that's what makes her such a frustrating ass villain to even engage with in the first place. To be honest, she is the worst villain in the whole entire franchise. Now let's talk about how hypocritical Joan is. She constantly hides behind the idea that everything she does is for the sake of the community's survival, but while she claims to keep Richmond safe, she's secretly sending people out to raid other communities like Trips Camp, and hell, even the spot that Harvey and family had went to get some goddamn gas. Like, she secretly sent them out to basically put innocent lives at risk too. It's so hypocritical, and not even in the clever, complex way that you expect from a well-written goddamn villain anyway. Like, she wants to have her cake and eat it too. Be seen as a survivor while acting like a dictator. Like, bitch, shut up. You got no say-so in what you doing, cause ain't none of that justifiable. She often manipulate those around her to maintain control too, and it's kind of crazy cause the way she speak is so suspicious. Like, how in the world could you have all these people believing what you saying? Like, she has the worst manipulation tactics. Like, everyone else in Richmond had to be the R word, because ain't no way the child is that dumb to fall for what she's saying. But the way it's done is just so stupid. Like, as anybody play the damn game, like, you see right through her, and it makes you wonder how can anyone else in Richmond has even caught on yet. Like, that's what's crazy though. Joan's self-righteousness is one of the most annoying things about her. You know, she acts as if her way is the only way to like survive, enforcing brutal laws and executions in the name of justice. But here's the kicker, there's no justification for that. Telltale tries to make us see her as a strong leader doing what's necessary in hard times, but in my opinion, that just comes off lazy writing. Her decisions aren't the hard choices of a morally great character. They are just the essence of a power-hungry individual masking tyranny as law and order. Instead of feeling like a complex, morally great figure, she's simply someone we just want to get rid of as soon as possible. That's why I chose to shoot her behind, even though that some people didn't want me to do it. But I just shot her anyway. There's no complaining. I'll tell you right now, there's no compelling reason to sympathize with her or even understand her perspective, and that just make her less interesting overall. Like, if anybody actually chose to take that deal, it could have been a smart choice. But David, he just hold us for no fucking reason. He ain't had no business doing that. You know, we could have just took our tail and left. But nah, David had other plans. In a game about survival in a zombie apocalypse, you'd expect, you know, the human villains to be terrifying or at least dangerous. But Joan never quite lives up to that. Sure, she has power in Richmond and manipulates people behind the scenes, but she never feels like a real threat compared to characters like Carver from season 2 or the chaos brought by the New Frontier themselves. When push comes to shove, she just feels weak. And that really takes the tension out of the conflict. And in the final showdown between us and Joan, it doesn't even feel as intense or as satisfying as it should be, because frankly, she never seemed like a worthy adversary in the first place. The stakes wasn't just there. The most annoying part about Joan's character is the missed potential. Telltale could have given us a deep, morally gray antagonist, someone who challenges, you know, our sense of right and wrong. Instead, we got a villain who feels underdeveloped, predictable, and flat. You know, Joan, like, she could have been more of a compelling character, but she falls short in almost every way. There was no moment that made me think, like, maybe she right, or actually question my own decisions. You know, she was just another corrupt leader in a world filled with them. So in the end, Joan is an annoying villain, not because she was too evil, but because she's not complex enough. Telltale's The Walking Dead has given us some amazing villains in the past, but Joan, she was more of a nuisance than a real antagonist. So what did y'all think? Did y'all find Joan as annoying as I did? Or did y'all actually thought that she actually added something differently to your experience? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. In the grim world of Telltale's The Walking Dead, most people are focused on one thing, survival. But Lois, Lois, or Lewis, brings something else to the table. Humor, optimism, and a reminder that there's still, room for joy, even when everything feels hopeless. While many characters have hardened, Lois chooses to stay lighthearted. And that's the key reason why, many people can connect with him. He knows how to lighten the mood, even when things get heavy. And that's important. He's not oblivious to the dangers around him. He just choosing to face them with a smile on some Joker type shit. And that's refreshing. Behind the jokes and the easygoing nature, Lois is fiercely loyal. When it comes down to it, he's someone you can actually count on, whether it's defending AJ, sticking by Clementine's side, or even standing up to the dangerous enemies. Lois always proves he has his friends' backs. His loyalty is unwavering, and that makes him more than just a fun character. It makes him, someone we can root for. He's the type of person who values friendship over survival at all costs, and that's rare in a world where trust is hard to come by, similar to Violet, depending on your choices. What makes Lois truly stand out is his emotional depth. Yes, he's the jokester of the group, but he's also someone who also, felt pain, loss, and he just in fear just like everybody else. Throughout the game, we see moments where, Lois drops a mask, allowing us to see the vulnerability underneath him. He opened up a little bit in his past and shit with his parents. And that's some things that, some people just, they find hard to let out in front of a group of people, or hell, even just one person. These moments remind us that Lois isn't just like a happy-go-lucky guy without a care in the world. He uses humor to cope with, his past and within the darkness. But that doesn't mean he's unaffected by it. His character becomes even more relatable when we see that, he too also struggles with the weight of the apocalypse. One of the most compelling aspects in Lois's character is how much he grows over the course of the game. Depending on how you play, Lois plays where he evolves in response to the events around him. He learns when to be serious, when to take charge, and when to let go of his carefree attitude to protect the one he loves. We see him struggle, with tough choices, and in these moments, Lois shows us that he's more than just a comic relief. He's capable of handling real responsibility, and that growth is what makes him such a dynamic character. And of course, we gotta talk about, his relationship with Clementine, depending on your choice. Whether you play with him as a friend or pursue a romantic storyline, Lois' connection with Clem is one of the most highlighted things of the damn final season. He respects her, supports her, and isn't even afraid to challenge her when needed. Their bond feels genuine because it's based off mutual respect and care. Lois never even treats Clementine like she's just another hardened survivor. He sees her as a person, like a regular person, behind the tough exterior she portrays. And in a world where Clem has been do the most, do the most. She lost so much. She lost Lee, she lost Kenny, she lost Luke. Hell, depending on your choice and what the fuck happened when you play Harvey in The New Frontier, she even lost Gabe, even though he got a lot of hate around him. She lost so much. And, Lois, he just gives her a reason to trust again. So while Lois is a great character, because he's more than just, the funny guy in the room, he's a character with depth, growth, and unwavering sense of loyalty to those he cares about. He brings heart, humor, and hope to a world where things are in short supply. Lois reminds us that it's possible to stay kind and stay hopeful and to stay human, even when the world falls apart. And that is what makes him one of the best characters in Telltale's Walking Dead. When we first meet Arvo in episode 4 of season 2, it's clear that he's in a tough situation right off the bat. He's a young man, scared and alone, carrying a bag of medicine he claims that was for his sister. Right away, he's on the defensive. And we are forced to make a difficult choice. Either trust him, let him go, or rob him of the very supplies that, he already carried, for his family survival. No matter what you choose, Arvo ends up in a precarious situation caught between Clementine's group and his own. But was his fear justified, or was he playing the villain to manipulate us? To be honest, his fear was justified because there were just two plain old females that just pop up out of nowhere. And then you think that this man about to sit down and lower the gun? Boy, you got me fucked up. I would do the same thing Arvo did. Later, Arvo returns with a group of Russian bandits, leading to one of the most intense shootouts in the series. Here's where the controversy starts though. Did Arvo plan to, ambush all along? Or was he just following orders? I mean, because first of all, the man literally snitched, and hell, I would've blamed him for snitching if a nigga would've robbed me of some. Oh my god. Y'all gonna think I'm trying to take his side, but for real though, like imagine if two females came out of nowhere, depending on your choice, they just plain to rob you for some medicine that you know, got for your sister. Nigga, damn right I'm gonna snitch. Yeah, matter of fact, let's go and break the whole fam. Yeah, let's get all their asses. Like, everybody hate on Arvo, but for what? Like, bro was literally the victim all along. Like, his stuttering, nervousness nature suggests someone out of their depth, likely, you know, forced by his group to lead the charge, perhaps under fucking clueless shit or Curtis. Nigga, I don't know. And don't you dare bring baby AJ into this, because Arvo didn't even know they had a baby at the time. After the ambush, Arvo's situation deteriorates even further. Once captured by Clementine's group, he becomes the focus of Kenny's anger and frustration. This man, Arvo was literally Kenny's punching bag. Like, he was literally Kenny, oh my god. Yeah, Arvo. Kenny was basically Arvo's punching bag for whenever he get mad. Whenever Kenny get mad, he like, you know what? Let me beat this nigga ass just to get out my frustration. That nigga Kenny, bro. I should be laughing because Kenny's abuse of Arvo isn't subtle. It's brutal and unrelenting. You know, it's easy to see why Arvo begins to, you know, resent the group, especially Kenny. Like, day after, well, not day after day, but like, you know, like throughout the episodes, basically, throughout episode 4 and 5 a little bit. Day after day, this man is getting beaten, insulted, disrespected, violated, and even treated as a prisoner, man. They even locked that nigga up one time. Well, not literally, but like, you know, put the handcuffs in a place where that man literally was in the cold by himself while everybody else was warming up. They were doing that, bro, dirty like a motherfucker. God damn. The game does a brilliant job of showing the psychological toll this takes on Arvo. His fear gradually transformed into hatred. His attempts to escape are met with failure, and we start to see him as a corner animal. Like for real, like a literal animal. Scared, angry, and desperate. And, you know, I ain't gonna lie, we did a Clem, we shot her. That was so uncalled for, but bro ready to go. Bro was ready to go. He was like, you know what, Clem, get out my face. My Bonnie, let's go. In the final episode, Arvo makes a fateful decision. After a tense trek through the frozen landscape, he takes the ultimate step. This man shot Clementine. For many people, you know, this solidified him as the ultimate villain and an ultimate... for many people, it solidified him as a villain. And I don't get why. Like, bro, he's your number one op for no reason, bro. Like wait a goddamn minute now. We ain't finna do this to him now. For many people, like people hated him. Like, people wanted to get back on him specifically for no reason. As a matter of fact, let me just show y'all. Let me take a closer look at why he might have done this. At this point, Arvo lost everything. His sister, his group, his freedom, and he was subjected to constant abuse, both mentally and physically. He had every right. Like, I don't care what people say, like, he had every reason to believe that Kenny or anyone from Clementine's group would eventually kill him. From his perspective, shooting Clementine might have seemed like his last desperate attempt to escape, finally. And I ain't gonna lie, Mike was low-key, you know, right. We was saying that, you know, we gotta get away from Kenny, you know? Like, Kenny, it was a crash out. Like, it's hard being, you know, a Kenny fan sometimes, because especially in season 2. But we're not talking about Kenny. Anyway, a tragic mistake made out of fear and confusion. You know, for Arvo, like, okay, I get why people get mad, but can you blame, bro? So where does this leave us? Is Arvo truly an op that people fantasize about, or was he just a victim of the world collapsing around him? You know, he made the terrible decisions, there's no doubt about that. But when we reconsider, you know, everything he went through, it's clear that he's not purely evil. Instead, he's just a tragic figure like everybody else. A young scared man who, in the face of overwhelming fear and pressure, made choices that led to disastrous consequences and repercussions, especially towards the fan base. Like, you even got people making mods of Clementine literally killing Arvo in reverse. Like, people really want this man gone that bad. But anyway, in the end, Arvo represents one of the core themes of The Walking Dead, Telltale. Survival changes people. Under the right circumstances, even the most well-intentioned individuals can do terrible things. So was Arvo a villain? Maybe if you ask some people. But was he also a victim though? Most definitely. Minerva, or Minnie as she officially called by her twin sister Sophie, wasn't always a monster. She started as an innocent child, thrust into the apocalyptic world like so many others. But it was when she and Sophie were captured by Lily, or the Delta if you want to call it, by the group, you know, cause you know, start a group and they call this shit. Okay, let me shut up. A brutal group of raiders that everything began to spiral. You know, she was forced to become like one of her soldiers, and I ain't gonna lie, Jesus Christ, she was goddamn big. When they had that little screen out, when they was doing that shit out, man, when they saw how big Minerva was compared to Clementine and Violet or Louis, depending on your man, I was like, God dang, like that girl's supposed to be in the league how tall she is, and she was big too. Like, what would Lily feed at her? But anyway, Minerva faced impossible choices, none more devastating than her eventual betrayal of her own sister. And y'all got to bear with me, cause I ain't gonna lie, my nose is trying to get stuffy and I might be sick. But yeah, back to the video. Like when Minerva, can I pronounce her name right? It's Minerva. When she confessed that she killed her own sister just to prove her loyalty to Lily is a moment that actually sent chills down my spine. Like, it's an act that pushes her over the edge from victim to villain to me. Like, showing how warped and broken her mind had become. Like, Lily had broken her mind to the point that she literally killed her own sister. Like, Jesus Christ. And Violet's reaction was out of pocket too. Like, god dang, like, yeah, for real. Imagine your ex kill your well, not Violet's sister, because Sophie and Violet ain't sisters, but imagine your ex, imagine finding out your ex kill her sister. Boy, man, nah. But we gotta be honest, it was all Marlon's fault for giving them away in the first place. But Minerva's story is also about how easily a person can be manipulated and twisted by those in power. The Delta preyed on her desire to survive, using fear and control to turn her into a literal like military like weapon. While some characters like Clementine fought against the system, Minerva was swallowed by it. Pause. She not only followed orders, she began to believe in them too. Minerva's willingness to fight for the group that literally destroyed her family shows how indoctrination can strip away from someone's humanity. Her twisted loyalty to the Delta makes her unpredictable, terrifying, and violent. And crazy. But what makes Minerva truly disturbing isn't just her violent actions, it's her emotional turmoil. Beneath the surface, Minerva is filled with guilt, anger, and confusion. This is a person who is both the villain and a victim of her circumstances. When she confronts her sister's friends, there's a sense of, tragedy in her words, as if she's trying to justify the, atrocities that she committed. She's not just a heartless killer, she's a broken person trying to rationalize her descent into darkness, her descent into darkness. And then it's that one scene that in my opinion sparked one of the most iconic moments in Telltale The Walking Dead, not just in season 4, not just season 4, but in the whole entire series. Hell, this shit probably is up here with Lee's death. This, in my opinion, is one of the most iconic moments of the goddamn franchise.
Yeah, I think we can. We just gotta be careful not to land too hard.
Never mind the blood-red moon. The night will be over soon.
What did I just see? What did I just see?
This is the moment that I realized she was crazy. Despite being bitten to bits, her behind was still alive and was walking to us, just singing that song that Violet was singing. I'm like, hold on, wait who is that? I looked at, just like Clementine, I looked at Violet first, but then when I realized it wasn't Violet, I was like, who is this? And then she popped up out of nowhere. I was like, what? She's still alive? This haunted moment where she sings to herself reminds us that Minerva, she's still human, even though she's committed inhuman acts. You know, she's someone who completely lost it, both to the apocalypse and to her own inner demons. And this scene is also where my relationship with 10 just changed forever, because when I played it, god dang it, 10 was just so like, and he knew too, but yeah, he still tried to go with Minerva, and this man jumped at the last moment, leading to Violet's death. I literally shed tears, man. I actually like Violet too. I literally shed tears when Violet died. I was crying my ass off. That man 10 literally caused the death of one of the most memorable characters in the franchise. Like 10, oh 10, I don't hate you, cause hate's a strong word, but boy, I ain't gonna lie, you, man. Minerva's actions have devastating consequences, not just for herself, but for everyone around her. She's a character who destroys everything she touches, her family, her friends, and even the Delta itself. Her death is as tragic as it deserved. The final act of a person who could never escape the twisted fate she drawn into. In the end, Minerva becomes a tragic symbol of what happens when someone is pushed beyond their breaking point. She's not a villain who was evil from the start. She's a reflection of how the apocalypse twists and corrupts even the most innocent people. And that's why she's the most crazy person in Telltale's Walking Dead, in my opinion. Introduced in episode 1, Duck is a young, energetic son of Kenny and Katja. At first glance, he's just a typical little innocent little goofball, and a little clueless too. But in the world of walkers, his naivety leads to his downfall. He isn't like the most resourceful or even likable at times, but his tragic arc contributes significantly RP Duck, but yeah, his art contributes significantly to the story's emotional weight. So why is Duck often forgotten? One reason is timing. Duck's storyline runs alongside the development of Clementine and Lee's relationship. As the bond between those two strengthens, Duck is overshadowed. You know, he exists in the narrative's background, also there but never the main focus. He was just a little son of Kenny and Katja, like he was the background role. Whereas Clementine is a beacon of hope and future survival, Duck represents the fragility of childhood innocence in a brutal world. Yet because Clementine's story is so compelling, Duck's story becomes secondary. When Duck is bitten, it becomes clear that his story is heading towards tragedy. But instead of focusing solely on Duck, the emotional core of this moment is about Kenny and Katja. Duck's death is pivotal for them, not necessarily for the player. His death pushes Kenny's character development to a breaking point, but Duck himself is almost a plot device in this situation in the first place. Another reason Duck fades from memory sometimes is his lack of personal agency. Characters like Lee, Kenny, Clementine shape the narrative through their actions, but Duck is passive. He doesn't make impactful decisions, nor does he grow as a character. Unlike Clementine, who transformed from a scared child to a survivor, Duck remains static. This is compounded by the fact that many of Duck's moments in the story feels like moments of pure chance. Like, I ain't gonna lie, he was a funny little nigga. I ain't gonna lie, I love me some Duck. But, you know, he survives early on, not because of his skills or actions, but because of the players or Lee's intervention. You know, he's a passenger rather than a driver in the apocalypse. You know, he's just a sweet, innocent little kid. You know, he's not like taught how to survive like Lee did Clementine. Kenny didn't even taught that boy to survive, but hey man, who cares? Like, that boy was just a little bitty boy. He was innocent, just a kid being a kid. And that's the thing with Telltale's Walking Dead. Not many kids was able to be a kid like Duck was. So yeah, but that's what, in my opinion, that's what people, you know, mainly forget. Cause you know, everyone think about the badass characters, but you know, sometimes people forget about the innocent ones like Duck as well. But despite all of this, Duck's story isn't without emotional weight. His death is arguably one of the most heartbreaking moments in The Walking Dead. Watching Kenny and Katja's world fall apart is devastating, and Duck's innocence is a tragic, you know, casualty. Yet, for so many people, he's still overshadowed by characters like, this might go piss some people off, but characters like Ben, who mistakes cost lives, or Lily, who's portrayed because of a pivotal moment. Duck, while important, doesn't leave as lasting as an impression. Even in later seasons, other than, you know, Kenny, or a few like scenes here and there, Duck is rarely mentioned. Clementine occasionally brings them up, but those references feel more like nods to Kenny's story more than Duck's himself. In contrast, characters like Carly, Doug, or Ben, who discuss at length, their mistakes and choices still impacted the story though. Like for example, like if you chose to save Doug, like Doug literally tried to save Ben's life, but ended up getting his ass shot because Lily intentionally was trying to shoot Ben ass. Or Carly, who was literally just talking her shit, which got Lily so butthurt that her ass literally shot her. Like those characters like that, like they left a lasting impact. In the end, Doug's character serves a purpose, showing the innocence lost in the apocalypse and the emotional toll on those who survive. But because he lacks agency and his story is overshadowed by bigger characters and moments, Duck ends up being one of the most forgotten characters in Telltale's Walking Dead. Marlon is the leader of a group of kids at Erickson Boarding School for Troubled Youth. In a world overrun by walkers, the children have created their own little community to survive. Marlon stepped up as a leader not because he wants power, but because someone had to take charge. Like, I mean, when a whole lot of adults literally left y'all ass to die basically, I mean, what else you gonna do? Someone had to step up. But yeah, like, he was someone who took charge. He's practical, courageous, and most importantly, determined to protect those he cares about at the time. But leadership in a world like this isn't easy. The stress of protecting the others while dealing with scarce resources and constant danger takes a toll on him. Marlon's desperation eventually led him to his darkest decision, which was sacrificing Sophie and Minerva to raiders in exchange for safety of the group. When Clementine arrives, she begins to unravel the carefully constructed lie that Marlon has built around himself. The truth is that Marlon wasn't a monster. He was a scared kid who made a terrible choice. He sacrificed Sophie and Minerva not out of malice or fucking like all out savagery, but out of fear. He believed that if he didn't act, the raiders would take more lives. This decision haunted him, causing him to live in constant guilt and paranoia. His actions weren't justified, but they were understandable. The burden of leadership can push even the strongest people to make tragic mistakes, especially in a world like this one. Despite his grave mistakes, there are signs that Marlon could have been redeemed. Before everything came crashing down, he showed moments of genuine care for his friends. Marlon had the potential to actually confront his past, make amends, and become a better leader. If Marlon had survived his confrontation with Clementine and AJ, he would have had a chance to face the consequences and repercussions of his choices head on. It's possible that, with time, he could have become like a character with one of the most compelling redemption arcs in the series. But unfortunately, that boy AJ had other plans.
You win. I can't.
That boy AJ shot him, ending his life before he could even begin to atone for what he done. Some argue that AJ's actions was justified. After all, Marlon had pointed a gun at Clementine for the longest, but it's hard not to feel like something important was lost with Marlon's death though. Marlon's sudden death left the group in disarray. Without him, the kids had to figure out how to survive on their own, and AJ's actions set a new precedent for how conflicts were dealt with. Violence instead of reconciliation. Let's imagine for a moment how Marlon's redemption arc could have played out. The first step would be taking responsibility. Marlon would need to openly admit to his mistakes, not just out of guilt, but to make things right. He could have worked his way to earn back the trust of the other kids and fought for the group's safety, this time without sacrificing anyone. He could have met Minerva like how they did in real life. Well, not in real life, but in the game, basically. And then Minerva gonna be talking her shit to Marlon, and then Marlon gonna be like, man, okay, man, I'm sorry for what I did. And then he's gonna find out about Sophie's death when Minerva killed her. And then, basically, he's gonna help everybody, get out of the boat, basically, fight off the Delta. That basically gonna earn his trust back. That's how I would've done it. And I ain't gonna lie, this beat is getting on my nerves because it's a little too loud for it to only be at 20 volume. But hey, man, bear with me. It's about to be over in a minute. A redemption arc doesn't mean erasing his past sins, but rather showing growth and willingness to change. Marlon could have been a symbol of how even a world as bleak as it is there's room for second chances and the possibility of becoming a better person. And I know what y'all thinking. What about 10? Man, nah, fuck 10. That nigga was responsible for many lives. Like Marlon, what Marlon did, nah, what 10 did made Marlon look like a saint. Like, come on, man, like, let's be honest. That man 10 was a cause of many deaths. Marlon just did nothing but suck 2 people away. You acting like he killed him. Nah, forget all that. Marlon's story in Telltale's The Walking Dead is a tragic one. You know, he was a young leader who made terrible choices, but he was also just a kid who deserved a chance to like learn and grow from his mistakes. In a world that constantly strips away people's humanity, Marlon could have been an example of how redemption is still possible, even in the darkest of times. But instead, his story serves as a reminder of how quickly hope can be extinguished and how not every character can like get a chance at a redemption arc. And Telltale's The Walking Dead, sometimes there's just no time for second chances. Now, throughout the course of Telltale's The Walking Dead, we done ran into several of the best characters of all time. But this man right here, in my opinion, is the best of them all. Hey, this man is probably better than Lee, in my opinion. Bro is literally Naruto if he was reincarnated in an alternate universe. This man is literally Chuck and Molly if they had a baby. This man literally have long, luxurious hair. This man is handsome and a handsome and debonair. Bro literally got a beard gifted from Jesus Christ himself. But speaking of Jesus, that's exactly who we talking about today. That man Jesus. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Oh no. Not this Jesus. This Jesus right here. And God, please forgive me for using your son's name in vain. The moment we actually meet Jesus, it's clear that, you know, he's a different breed. He's calm, collected, and seems to know exactly what he's doing. In a world where chaos reigns, that kind of composure is rare, and that is what, like, immediately sets him apart from the other survivors. Not to mention his martial arts skills make him a unique character in Telltale's The Walking Dead. While most survivors are wielding guns, machetes, knives, basically anything they can get their hands on, Jesus prefers more hands-on approach. It's not about surviving for him, it's about mastering the art of combat. Or hell, maybe he just wanted to show off just to let people know that he don't really need weapons to even kill the walkers. Man, who knows? But what adds to Jesus' appeal is the mystery surrounding him. You know, he's the kind of character who doesn't reveal much about his past or his plans. Instead, he keeps his cards close to his chest, leaving other characters and us as players guessing. You know, this art, well not art, but this air of, you know, mystery only adds to his cool factor. You know, it makes him like basically mysterious. Like it makes every interaction with him feel like there's more going on beneath the surface. But being a badass isn't just about combat skills. You know, Jesus is also a skilled negotiator and a strategist. You know, throughout the game, he's often the voice of reason, suggesting plans that involve thinking outside the box. He's not the type to just throw himself into a danger, you know, without a plan. You know, in fact, his approach often involves diplomacy before violence. He's not just a warrior, he's a leader and a thinker. And let's not forget about his loyalty. Jesus is someone who steps up when the chips are down. You know, despite his mysterious nature, he's there for his allies whenever it truly counts, especially at the end when he's riding with them horses. You know, whether it's rescuing someone from walkers or helping form an alliance, Jesus knows how to be there for others. He actually has a heart, you know. His actions speak louder than words, which is exactly what you want from a true hero. And for those who don't know, Jesus is an actual character from the original Walking Dead comic book series. Telltale did an excellent job of breaking him to life in the game, you know, retaining, you know, his key traits like his combat skills, leadership qualities, and even moral compass, while adding new layers. Seeing Jesus kick ass in the game is like seeing the comic book panels come to life. And for those who are fans of the comics and the game, man, come on, man, that's a cool experience, to be honest with you. Some of his best moments in Telltale's The Walking Dead come from Jesus, well, the New Frontier specifically. Remember when he took down multiple walkers with nothing but a knife and his martial arts skills? Or when he went down on horses and took everybody down? Like, that joke was cool. Or when he like managed to outsmart hostile survivors. Like, moments like these are what make him stand out. You know, he's not just a character who's there to fill his role. Like, he's there to like make a statement. I ain't gonna lie, my voice, like, it's on its last leg. But let's keep going. In a world overrun by the dead, You need more than just like brute force to survive. You need finesse, strategy, and sometimes a little bit of faith. And that's why Jesus is one of the coolest, most badass characters in Telltale's Walking Dead. Introduced in Season 1, Episode 2, Mark was a new addition to the group at the motor end. As a former US Air Force employee, he quickly proved his worth by sharing supplies and helping to secure the motel. But despite his promises set up, his time in the spotlight was short-lived. His role may have been brief, but that doesn't mean it was insignificant. Mark immediately stood out for his proactive approach and willingness to help the group. His arrival added a dynamic that brought more optimism and collaboration for the team. He was more than just a supply donor. He was a genuinely good person who believed in his group survival. One of Mark's most significant moments was when he stood up to Larry, questioning his aggression towards Lee. It showed us that Mark wasn't afraid to speak up when he saw something wrong. He demonstrated a sense of morality, which made it clear that, he wasn't just another background character. His voice in those moments added depth to the group's interactions and made, the internal conflicts more layered. But unfortunately, after hours and hours of waiting for this goddamn woman to get finished with the goddamn food, turns out there was a reason why it took a while for the food to get done.
Brothers. What the hell happened to your legs, man?
Don't eat dinner.
Fortunately, Mark's fate was sealed at the St. John Dairy Farm. In one of the most shocking twists of the season, Mark ends up as a victim of cannibalism. His legs were cut off while he was still alive, and the group unknowingly prepares to eat him. But, depending on your choice, we can't stop Clint for eating him, but still. This grim turn served as a reminder of the honor and brutality of the world they were living in. But come on, man, it also felt like, a waste potential for Mark's character too. But even in his last moments, Mark still showed remarkable courage and resilience. That man crawled down the stairs to warn the group, giving everything he had left in him, to protect the others. Mark's final act wasn't just about survival, it was about protecting the people he cared about. And he also got his get back even as a zombie when he got Brenna ass. Mark's death was brutal, unexpected, and perhaps one of the most horrific in the series. But the real tragedy was the lack of closure and recognition for his character. He didn't even get to go out in a blaze of glory or have a heartfelt goodbye. His character was used to shock and disturb, which while effective, but at the same time felt like a disservice to someone who could have brought, so much more to the narrative. Other fallen members of the group like Carly, Doug, or hell even Ben, received moments of reflection from the others. But with Mark, the group moved on almost instantly, as if his sacrifice was just another casualty of the apocalypse. This lack of recognition made Mark feel like an expendable plot device rather than a member of the team who deserved to be mourned. Mark may not have had a major role, but he showed us that even in the darkest times, people can still strive to do good, his dedication, bravery, and tragic, and deserve more recognition from the Walking Dead Telltale community. So here's to Mark, a character who despite his short screen time, made a lasting impression. He deserved better, and while we can't change his fate in the game, we can make sure he's not forgotten. Tim's relentless hope for a better world is admirable and all, but in a universe like The Walking Dead, it's also downright dangerous. He holds on to the belief that everyone, including those who have died or turned into walkers, can somehow find peace in the afterlife. It's not just naive, it's just a death sentence for those around him. Clem and others who have grown up in this harsh, unforgiving world have long accepted that survival is all that matters. Tim's inability to let go of his idealistic worldview consistently puts him at odds with the rest of the group. I get where he's coming from, trying to brighten the mood and all, but Ten's trust issues play a huge role in making him frustrating. You know, he struggles to make decisions, especially when it comes to like life or death situations, because wherever this man go, death follows. This man is literally responsible for the cause of death of characters in season 4, like Mitch, Violet, and Lois, depending on your choice. Like this man, like his hesitation to trust Clementine and others combined with his own sense of moral superiority, like come on man, like he literally puts the whole entire group at risk multiple times. One of the most infuriating moments with Ten is when he freezes in key moments. It's as if he can't grasp the gravity of the situations he's in, and as a result, others have to take on the consequences and repercussions of his choices or lack thereof. Like Ten's idealism doesn't just affect him, it endangers everyone around him. His refusal to accept the brutal realities of the world leads to situations where he acts, recklessly. Like he believes that even the most dangerous people can change or be reasoned with, which in The Walking Dead is a recipe for disaster. The obvious example of this is his relationship with his sister Minerva. Even after everything Minerva does, Ten still clings on to hope that, she can be saved, blinding this man into her true nature. Like, come on, man. Like, his insistence on seeing the best of people, especially when they proven to be dangerous, puts everyone else in harm's way. Like that one J. Cole song, "Don't Save Her, she don't want to be saved, Ten. She don't want to be saved." Ten's actions or lack of action don't just affect him, they affect the whole entire group. Whether it's freezing up during an escape or failing to make the tough decisions, Ten's inability to face reality makes him a liability. His emotional baggage becomes everyone else's problem, and in the world of Telltale's Walking Dead, that often means life or death. Even Clementine, who tries her best to protect Ten, reaches her point or breaking point with his refusal to grow. Like, depending on your choice, like, I forgot Buddy's name, but he got his big gap teeth. Like, he kinda like Monkey D. Luffy, to be honest. Bro literally said that it was Ten's fault for Mitch's death, which was right. And depending on your choice, you can say, even though it was his fault. And if you do say that, Ten is gonna have an emotional breakdown. That nigga be like, oh really? And then he gonna run off. And I'm gonna be like, you know what? As much as I hurt that bro feelings, at least I told the truth. Like, it's frustrating as a player to like see Clem put so much effort to try to guide Ten, only for him to make choices that undo all the hard work. Ten isn't a bad person. He's far from it. He's kind, creative, and hopeful. But it's precisely this missed potential that makes him so frustrating. In a world where survival means evolving, Ten refuses to adapt, and that makes it hard to sympathize with this young man, even when you want to. Like, he's like a Ben clone. He could have been a character who, like Clementine, learns to balance hope and realism. Instead, his unwavering belief in a better world becomes his downfall and threatens to bring others down with him. In the end, Ten's character represents everything that Telltale's Walking Dead is trying to teach us. That holding on to the past and clinging on to the impossible ideals can be deadly. His kind heart and hope are admirable, but in a world as unforgiving as this one, it makes him the most frustrating character of them all. Yes, today we're talking about Jane for Telltale's The Walking Dead. To be honest with you, I held my tongue for this one for too long. And to be honest with you, I got so much to say. And no, this isn't going to be like a connected analysis. It's going to be kind of a rant, because Jane is one of the most infuriating video game characters ever. Not in just Telltale's The Walking Dead, but just in general. First off, let's talk about her whole philosophy. Jane is the epitome of survival at all costs. And while that might sound good in a theory, but the way she goes about it, absolutely recklessness. Like, I get it, the world's gone to hell, people are dropping bodies left and right, and trust is a luxury, but Jane takes it to a whole new level and is toxic. And remember that one scene where she basically encourages Clementine to leave everyone behind? It was like, oh hey Clem, you know all those people who literally kept your ass alive? Yeah, let's diss them because trust is too damn risky. Like, come on! Like, I understand being cautious, but Jane's approach is so extreme that it's almost sociopathic, if you're really being honest. Like, it's like she's forgotten what it means to be human. And can we talk about how she always tries to manipulate Clementine? Like, Jane tries to mold Clem into her own mini version of herself, basically, pushing her towards this cold, detached version of herself. It's not just advice, it's downright brainwashing. She's like, hey kid, you're better off alone, emotions are for the weak, blah blah blah. Like, no, Clementine is stronger because of her connections with others, not in spite of them. And let's not forget that one scene that one scene that literally sparked it all for me, and that was the final showdown between her and Kenny. For some reason, she hired AJ just to make Kenny snap on purpose, and Kenny was already crashing out the whole damn game ever since Sarita died, so I don't know why she even do that in the first place. That man Kenny snapped on Jane, and then act surprised when he actually loses it. Like, what did you expect? You basically just poked the damn bear with a goddamn stick, and now you're shocked that he's attacking you. And the worst part is she does this to prove some type of point that Kenny is some kind of twisted, dangerous person, which he was, a knife in the cap. But in reality, she's the one who's really the unhinged one. Like, she's really, like, the fact that she literally, like, was so unhinged enough to even use that baby as a pawn is all out ridiculous. She claims to do it to protect Clementine, but all she really is doing is playing mind games, and Jane is so obsessed with being right that she's willing to put everyone at risk just to prove her damn point. And then if you side with her, she has the audacity to try to justify her actions and as if she was some kind of martyr. No, Jane, you are not a hero. You are a manipulative, selfish, egotistical nightmare who is willing to sacrifice anyone and everyone to feel validated. Look, I get it. The world of The Walking Dead is complicated and there are no easy choices. But Jane, she embodies everything that's wrong with a purely survivalistic mindset. She's a tragic figure, sure. And her sister died, sure. But that doesn't justify her actions, I'm sorry. Like, she's the kind of person who she's the kind of person who sees people as tools, not as individuals with worth and value. And in the world of The Walking Dead, that kind of thinking is just as dangerous as a walker. So yeah, that's my little rant. Jane might be complex, she might even be layered, but at the end of the day, she's just as flawed, if not more so, than the people she criticizes. And honestly, it's exhausting.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
When we first met Lee, he's a man headed to prison, a convicted murderer, not exactly your typical hero, right? But that's what made Lee so special. He's a complex character with a dark past, and the game doesn't shy away from that. It immediately sets the tone. You know, Lee, he wasn't the perfect human being, but neither is the world that he was going to be thrown into in a couple of more seconds when that zombie out of nowhere came in the road and a goddamn police officer didn't even pay the fuck attention. Lee's past shapes how we, as players, approach the story. Sure, he has done one bad thing, but he's not defined by his crime. Instead, he's given a second chance to be someone better. You know, someone who he can protect, or someone who can protect and teach a little girl by the name of Clementine in this broken world. And that's what brings us to what is, without a doubt, the heart of the game. Clementine and Lee's relationship. The bond between these two characters is so identical that it's impossible not to get emotionally invested. Lee isn't just surviving for himself. From the moment he meets Clementine, he becomes her protector, her mentor, her Jiraiya to his Naruto, and most importantly, a father figure. Every choice you make as Lee carries the weight of protecting her, of teaching her how to survive in this post-apocalyptic nightmare. Like, for example, when you have a choice to kill Andy or don't kill Andy. Or was it Danny? I don't know which one it was. Nigga, the St. John brothers, they were just some weirdos to be honest. But anyway, he's not just trying to stay alive. He's also trying to help her grow in a world that's completely unforgiving. Basically, he's doing everything he can to protect her. Even though that throughout the game, her focus was basically just to find her parents. To be honest, we could have just told her parents were dead, but goddammit, we didn't want to break her spirit. We didn't want to crush her dreams like that, but goddammit, we should have said something. Gave her a hint or something. Because Clementine's desperation to find her parents is what led Lee to get bit. Let's not forget now. From teaching her how to shoot, to cut her hair for safety, to giving her hard lessons about trust, Lee's influence on Clementine defies not only the first season, but the entire series. He prepares her for the future, and that's one of the reasons we love him so much. Whether you want to believe it or not, in Telltale's Walking Dead, choices do matter, and those choices are a reflection of who Lee is to Clementine, basically. The decisions you make as Lee shape not only the story, but how you view him as a person. Do you want to play him as a cold survivalist, or do you want to make decisions with compassion, with actually thinking instead of, you know, being quick to press a goddamn button on a decision that you be ready to click on? Like, for example, hitting Larry, even though Kenny got his head knocked out, but that shit was funny as hell, I ain't gonna lie. Unlike other video game protagonists, Lee isn't just following a script, basically. He's a vessel for the player's morals and instincts. And that's where his strength as a character shines. You get to decide who Lee becomes, whether he's a man seeking redemption or someone embracing the chaos of this new world. But it's the way Lee's story ends that truly cements his status as the GOAT. His journey is filled with tough choices, moments of doubt, and heartache, but it all leads to that final heartbreaking decision. Lee doesn't get a happy ending, unfortunately, but he dies knowing that Clementine has a chance because of him. Lee's death isn't just sad, it's heroic, it's meaningful. He sacrifices himself to save Clementine, leaving her with all the tools she needs to survive without him. And that's what makes him the greatest protagonist. He's selfless in a world where survival often means being selfish. Even though Lee dies at the end of season 1, his presence is felt throughout the entire series. Clementine's actions, her strength, her ability to lead, it all comes from what Lee taught her. His legacy lives on through her. Lee didn't just survive the apocalypse, he shaped the future. He passed on his wisdom, his courage, and kindness to Clementine, and in doing so, ensured that his impact will last far beyond his own life. How many protagonists can you say that about, besides a select few? So what makes Lee Everett the GOAT? It's not just his strength or his survivor instincts, it's his heart. His story isn't just about surviving zombies, it's about redemption. It's about sacrifice. It's about passing on hope to the next generation. Similar to Boruto. Well, I take that back. But Lee Everett is the reason The Walking Dead, Telltale, resonates so deeply with so many of us, you know. Like, he's more than just a character. He's a symbol of what it means to find humanity. Okay, I'm trying not to shed a tear. He's more than just a character, you know. He's a symbol of what it means to find humanity in the darkest of times. Harvey literally gets hate for no reason. Like, for no reason at all. Like, bro's literally one of the most overhated Telltale's The Walking Dead characters in general. Either it's because they don't like the New Frontier, or it's their least favorite of the Telltale The Walking Dead series, or it's because they wasn't able to play as Clementine in season 3, which is kind of stupid to be honest with you. But yeah, Javier Garcia, or Javi for short, was introduced as the main playable character in Telltale's Walking Dead New Frontier, the third installment in the Telltale series. Now from the get-go, people are already divided. For some, it was already hard to accept anyone stepping into the shoes of Clementine, who had been the heart and soul of the series since season 1, but Javi brought something new to the table, and if you look past the initial shock of change, you might realize there's more to him that it meets the eye. Now let's address the elephant in the room, Clementine. By the time A New Frontier rolled around, people had already grown incredibly attached to her, you know, because, you know, she survived through the worst of the apocalypse throughout season 1 and throughout season 2, especially season 2. And her journey felt low-key kind of personal, so when we were introduced to a new protagonist, there was a bound to be resistance. For many, Javi was not Clementine, and that was just enough to dismiss him. Which is kind of stupid, because why would you knock off someone for, like, nigga did not ask to be here. He didn't ask to be here. God damn it, deal with it. Play as Javi or don't play the game at all. And I apologize for, you know, pouring out a little emotion to that. It's just, that jump don't make no damn sense. The fact that y'all literally not liking this man all because it's not Clementine is crazy. I mean, I understand I want to play as Clementine in season 3, but damn. Like, let bro get shot. Like, about time we have a new protagonist, to be honest. I mean, we all miss Lee, we all miss Kenny. We basically miss everyone for season 1 in general, besides a select few. But damn, bro, don't do Javi like that. Like, goddamn, like, okay, some characters in season 3 I understand, but damn, like, Javi ain't did nothing. But here's the thing, though. Telltale gave us Javi and Clementine. Instead of seeing him as a replacement, maybe we should see him as a new perspective. Someone trying to survive just like Clem, but with his own unique challenges and storylines. In fact, having two protagonists with intersecting paths only made the narrative even more richer. One of the criticisms aimed at Javi is his relationship with his family, especially the tension with his brother David, and the romantic undertones with Kate, which is kind of stupid. But anyway, this is one of the most realistic parts of his character though. In the chaos of the apocalypse, personal dynamics are bound to get messy real quick. Harvey's complicated relationship with his brother David reflects real human emotions, rivalry, guilt, and loyalty. And let's not forget that Kate's, David's wife, clearly has feelings for Harvey, which adds another layer to the already tense situation. Which once again, stupid. Whether you agree with Harvey's actions or not, they are believable within the context of... That shit was stupid as hell. Okay, I get it. It's a zombie apocalypse. You know, the kids, they are a few years older than when y'all first left the house, but the fact that you waited to now and then David came along, like, oh my god, Kate, you were just so messy, Kate. I can't even count with you, bro. You was a messy ass girl. But whether you agree with Harvey's actions or not, they are believable within the context of a world falling apart. Another reason why Harvey is often criticized is the way he handles leadership. But let's take a step back real quick. Harvey wasn't just a seasoned survivor like Red from the original Walking Dead series, god dang it. He was a regular guy, a former baseball player, who was thrown into an unimaginable situation, and yet, throughout the game, he steps up. He takes responsibility for his family and the group, even when the odds were stacked against him. Like, you playing as Harvey, I'm gonna guarantee you, you're not gonna make the perfect decision, but that's what makes him relatable. In a world filled with moral ambiguity, Harvey does his best, and his mistakes only make him more human. Like, for example, when you gotta, like that big scene, when you have to choose whether to shoot, Conrad, or fucking just not portray Clementine, but, you know, use her as a bargaining chip to help Kate get medical help from Richmond. Now, I'm not gonna lie, personally, I chose to shoot Conrad, but yeah, I couldn't do Clint like that, man. Come on, bro, you know. But goddamn. One of the most compelling aspects of Harvey's character is his growth. At the start of a new frontier, he's dealing with feelings of inadequacy and trying to find his place in a world that has already been upended. But as the story progresses, we see him evolve as someone who genuinely actually cares about the people around him for once. And whether it's God and his nephew Gabe, that annoying ass brat, I swear to God, or making tough decisions about the community, Harvey grows into a leader though. His relationship with Clementine also grows into something deeply respectful though. He doesn't try to replace her role as a protagonist, but instead becomes a strong ally. Their dynamic built on mutual respect and trust is one of the highlights of the game, especially on that one scene where Clementine beat the shit out that zombie with that metal baseball bat after Harvey was getting a little too confident, and that nigga almost goddamn died, but goddamn it, Clementine came in clutch. So why does Harvey get so much hate? A lot of it stems from the expectation that he would just be another Clementine, but that was never the point to begin with. Harvey wasn't even supposed to be her. He was meant to show us a different side of the apocalypse, one that was about family, loyalty, and redemption. He wasn't even supposed to be Clementine. He does not want to be Clementine. I don't know why people... Okay, let me stop. Many people felt like a New Frontier sidelined Clementine in favor of Harvey, but the reality is, Telltale was trying to balance two stories into one, and while that balance may not have been perfect for everyone, it doesn't mean Harvey deserved the hate. At the end of the day, Harvey is a flawed, complicated, but ultimately likable character. He may not have the same impact as Clementine, but his story is just as important in the larger narrative of Telltale's The Walking Dead. The hate he gets is just so undeserved, especially when you take the time to appreciate the depth and the complexity he brings into Telltale's The Walking Dead. A year ago, I made a video about why I dislike Kenny from Telltale's The Walking Dead, and I still stand on everything I said on that video. But as I was making thumbnails for future videos, I stumbled upon this picture. And then the more I look at this picture, the more I realize this man has to be the most broken man in Telltale's The Walking Dead. Now sure, Clementine went through some shit. Lee most definitely went through some shit. But this man right here, there are no words. Kenny starts off as a simple ass person, a family man in the beginning. He was a caring husband to his wife Katja and a loving father to his son Duck. His motivations were just regular, survive for the sake of his family. But in his singular focus became both his greatness strength, but his fatal flaw. Kenny's spiral first began with one of the most devastating moments in the series, the loss of his son Duck. As Kenny struggles to cope, things take an even darker turn when Concha, overwhelmed with grief, took her own life, sadly. This is where we see the first crash in Kenny's mental state. His identity was tied to his role as a protector and father. With his family gone, that identity was just shattered into pieces, just like that. But instead of processing his grief, Kenny buries it deep inside. Pause. What happens next is a slow, painful descent into madness. This is where, in my opinion, where he started his crash out arc. In season 2, Kenny's desperation to cling to any semblance of family becomes apparent. He forms a quick, almost desperate attachment to Sarita, a new companion who represents hope for a fresh start. But when she too as well was taken from him, it became clear everyone Kenny loved is doomed. With every new loss, Kenny's grip on reality weakens. His desire to protect baby AJ became an obsession. In his mind, saving AJ becomes synonymous with redemption for all the loved ones he lost. But instead of protecting AJ out of love, it starts to feel like he's protecting him out of guilt, a desperate need to prove that he's not a failure. Kenny's unresolved grief transformed into anger. Throughout season 2, we see Kenny become increasingly violent. His outbursts put him at odds with the group, and he begins to alienate those around him, just as he pushes away any type of chance of healing. Slowly, you can tell that Kenny's trauma has consumed him completely. He lashes out at anyone and everyone, not because he wants to, but because it's the only way he knows how to cope. Like, the world has become one of constant survival, and in that world, the only emotion that still connects him to his past is rage. And then, the final straw. The final showdown between Kenny and Jane. It's a culmination of all his pain and anger. By this point, Kenny has lost nearly everything, and his mind is teetering off the edge. But his conflict with Jane is less about her actions and more about what she represents. And she represents another potential threat to his fragile grasp on family, on his last hope, aka AJ. When Jane manipulates Kenny into believing that AJ died, he snapped completely. In that moment, we see the full weight of his brokenness. The man who was once a loving father has become a shell, driven by fear, guilt, and desperate need to protect something, anything that reminds him of what he lost. That man was gone. Kenny was just gone, and bro was like bro's spirit was just gone. Like the Kenny we knew for season 1 was just gone. Everything about him was just gone. What makes Kenny such a tragic, broken character is that his downfall is so relatable. He's not evil. He's not a monster. He's a man who loved too deeply and lost too damn much. In a world as brutal as The Walking Dead, Kenny represents the harsh truth that sometimes the most dangerous things isn't the walkers or the bandits. It's the weight of grief and what it can do to a person. Kenny's story is one of loss, trauma, and the slow destruction of a man who couldn't let go. And in the end, that's why he's the most broken character in Telltale's The Walking Dead. At first glance, the St. John Dairy seems like a safe haven in the apocalyptic wasteland. A farm with fresh food, high fences, an electric fence, and a seemingly friendly family. But if you have ever seen a horror movie, you already know this is too goddamn good to be true. And the weirdness starts almost immediately too. Okay, first we need to start off with Andy St. John. He's more the charming frontman of the operation. He got that smooth, polite demeanor that screams something's off. You know that feeling when someone's smiling at you, but it feels way too forced and they being overly nice and it seems forced as well. Yeah, that's Andy right there. For the moment you meet him, you can tell there's something lurking behind those eyes. Something is just not right with this man. You know, it's the little things that make Andy weird. The overly rehearsed lines, the fake concern for your group, and his obsession with keeping you safe. He talks about the farm as if it's paradise, but the cracks in that man starting to show real quick. The whole too friendly to be real vibe only makes you more suspicious of this man. Like, just look at him. And don't get me started with Danny St. John. If Annie's the polite mask, Danny is the raw, unfiltered creep. From the get-go, this man already give you a major bad vibe. He's always coking around, leering at everything like he's sizing up the next meal. Well, that was the case later on, you know, RP Mark, but you get what I'm trying to say. But nah, real talk though, this guy can't go 5 minutes without saying something weird or uncomfortable. He's like that one weird kid that you don't want to talk to in school, but goddamn it, just to hear this motherfucker out, you just gotta listen to him. But like, whether it's his weird comments about lonely people, or the way he seems way too interested in hunting, you just know this guy's up to something. Every time this man is on your screen, it's like he's one bad comment away from revealing his true nature. And of course, it doesn't take long for you to discover the brother's horrifying secret. It's not just that they're creepy, they're cannibals on some Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre type shit. They've been luring survivors to the farm and, well, let's just say they've been putting the meat on the menu, pause. And here's where the St. John brothers go from unsettling to downright deranged. They don't just kill people for food, they treat it like it's normal. They act like it's a perfectly logical survival tactic. And that what makes them truly weird. They have justified the unjustifiable, turning their twisted worldview into a family tradition. Like some Texas Chainsaw type shit, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all niggas. When the truth finally comes out, the brothers unravel. Andy goes from the calm, polite leader to a desperate man who's lost control. While Danny was always a little off the rails anyway, but now he's completely unhinged. The St. John brothers' weirdness wasn't just an act, it was a reflection of how deeply broken they were by the world around them. What makes the St. John brothers stand out isn't just that they are bad guys, it's that they are weird in a way that's unsettling because it's human. They are not evil geniuses or super villains or super antagonists. They're just regular people who have gone down a dark, twisted path. And that's what makes them so memorable and so disturbing and disgusting. The St. John brothers are some of the weirdest villains in The Walking Dead. Well, the Telltale's The Walking Dead. Not because they are the most dangerous, but because their weirdness feels so real. They smile when they should cry, laugh when they should feel guilt, and make you question just how far regular people can fall when pushed by desperation. And in a world where survival is everything, the St. John brothers remind us that sometimes the scariest monsters aren't the walkers. They are the humans who have also lost their way. This is the face of a nigga you just want to grab a goddamn belt and beat his ass with it. First off, we gotta start off with this little boy attitude. That nigga attitude, boy, that nigga Gabe is basically the definition of a fucking brat. If we're being honest, let's not sugarcoat it. Okay, I get it, you know, teenagers such as myself, you know, we tend to grow up and then we start to rebel against people, this and that and third, blah blah blah. But that do not give him a free pass to be a constant whining little ungrateful ass headache. Every time you try to do something right, this nigga Gabe always there to question your ass, second guess your ass, and throw a motherfucking tantrum like Jeffy for SML. Like, excuse me, nigga? Do you know how many fucking walkers Harvey and fucking Clementine had to fucking kill just to keep your scrawny little ass alive? And it don't even help that he never listens to. Like, Harvey tries to teach this man how to survive, but instead of taking some advice from the guy who is keeping you alive, Gabe thinks he already got it all figured out. Yeah, sure, Gabe, yeah, go ahead and throw yourself at the first dangerous situation you see. What's the worst that could happen? Oh wait, everything could go wrong, and spoiler alert, it often does, cause of this man right here. It's not that just Gabe is emotional, it's that his emotions are always turned up to 11. Anger? Through the roof? Jealousy? Off the charts? Insecurity? What you think being surrounded by walkers and constant danger might humble somebody? But nah, not with this fella. You know, this man is a full-on drama king. Every conversation with him turns into some kind of goddamn soap opera. You are trying to save his life, but all he cares about is who's not giving him enough attention. Or why he isn't even treated like an adult. Like, nigga, sit your motherfucking ass down, bitch. Move. And don't even get me started with his jealousy towards Clementine. Like, bro, Claire's been surviving this shit since she was 8 years old. She doesn't have time for your immature bullshit. She's out here being a goddamn certified badass, while you out here doing goddamn hissy fits about your daddy issues, which we can't just sit here and put this shit on him, cause goddamn it, you know, David, he was taking my mom to the fucking hospital to get checked out, but we all know how that turned out, which led to him being in fucking Richmond and shit like that, which led to him and Javi and the rest of his family be separated from each other, so you can't put that on him. But the fact that he's trying to impress her for what? Man, sit your ass out. Well, you know what? I'm glad Lois done replaced his ass. I mean, fuck this nigga, man. But what makes this man the worst is that this man's a walking disaster. Every single time there's a chance to do something important, this little nigga wanna find a way to completely try to screw it up. Remember that one scene when okay, depending on your choices, this man literally wrecked your ass out and told in front of Trip that you shot Conrad. Nigga, we was trying to save your bitch ass. Nigga, we was trying to save you. And you rat us out like that?
Fuck this. Fuck this. Niggers need to die. They need to die. They need to die. You hear me? They need to die.
The worst part is, this nigga never takes responsibility for anything. It's always, well, just trying to help. Dude, you're not helping. You're literally making everything harder for everybody, including yourself. It's like he thinks being impulsive and reckless makes him some kind of hero when really, he just won't walk a bite away from being a fucking Walker child. I get it. Maybe Telltale was trying to show us how a teenager will realistically react in an apocalypse. But come on, even Sarah wasn't even acting like this, and she was dumber than fucking. Oh Lord, I'm sorry, Sarah. I'll get to you in a minute. Matter of fact, I don't know how I'm gonna put these videos in order. They don't even matter. But yeah. But come on, man, there's a limit on how much whining, recklessness, and drama one character can throw at you before we just lose it. Gabe's got potential, sure, but that potential was buried under so many layers to the point that no, we could deal without him basically. So yeah, Gabe, the most frustrating, rage-inducing character in Telltale's Walking Dead: A New Frontier. And if you somehow like this man, if you actually think this man is misunderstood, fine, that is your opinion. But I'll tell you this, he's on my list of characters I wish I could vote off the god. Well, depending on your choices and what goes down, he does die, but oh Lord have mercy, Jesus. If there was a character I could do without, it's him. I'm sorry. Now I ain't gonna waste your time with this. I've been thinking about this video for a whole long while, and no Kenny fanboy is gonna stop me from uploading it. Like, Kenny, in my opinion, is like a roller coaster of emotion. Like, he constantly challenged you to side with him every single time, often against you better judgment. Like, come on, man. Like, one minute he's like, thank you, Lee. Man, I appreciate what you're doing, Lee. I appreciate you defending me and my family, Lee. To the next minute, he want to get mad because you call him out on his bull crowd and admit that he was actually wrong with what he did. I mean, come on. Is that a good role model in a zombie apocalypse? Is a man consistently on the brink of a mental breakdown, lashing out on anyone or anybody who opposes him? Like, that's the type of nigga that you want in your corner? Hell no. And don't even get me started on his decision making. Like, that is what turns me off about Kenny. The fact that he will literally leave you to die. Like, I'll use an example. Remember the scene after Kenny got shot, the next episode, when we had to go back into the pharmacy to get some medicine and supplies? Like, Lee, I don't know if that was a cabinet or locker that fell on him, but it fell on him, and them walkers were itching away, ready to get a piece of him. And what did Kenny do? He just sat there and watched, didn't even try to help. And you telling me that's the person that you like? And let's talk about his resilience to reason. Like, any type of attempt to rationally discuss an alternate course of action is met with a defenseless or outright aggression. Like, that motherfucker got anger issues, he got trust issues, he got leadership problems, he got problems with social skills. The man cannot socialize with nobody. It's either his way or god dang it no way. I can already hear some of y'all typing away in the comment section about Kenny's rough experiences. I know he lost his family. Yes, he has been through a lot, and that's tragic. But let's remember one thing though. This is a zombie infested world. Everyone has lost something or someone. It's the choices made in response that forge a true character to me. Like, I want my characters in my corner who can rise above and evolve and not continuously fall into a cycle of anger and bitterness. Am I trying to say Kenny is a bad character? Heck no. Now, don't get me wrong, Kenny is not all bad. There were moments that he actually put others other than himself to find his own expected selfishness. But come on, man, you gotta agree. When it comes to someone by your side on some teamwork type stuff, Kenny is not the one that you want in your corner, boy. I'll tell you that right now. Like, he's the type of friend who's gonna sit there and let your ass get beat by a group of gangbangers in the middle of a street. In the end, while Kenny may have been a complex and emotional engaging character to y'all, he's hard to root for to me. And he is a character that I quite frankly just can't side with. I mean, I'm not judging you, and I'm not about to trash you just because you like Kenny. If you like Kenny, man, go ahead and like Kenny. I ain't finna sit here and tarnish you or trash you or all out insult and disrespect you all because you like Kenny. I ain't gonna do that at all. Everyone has their own opinion. I have mine, and y'all have y'all's. So have a good day. Lily's character arc spans across multiple seasons of Telltale's The Walking Dead, and she has been often portrayed as this evil, hurtful villain. But to me, I believe that she is a character who deserves a closer look and a deeper understanding. Like, we can't just go judge a book by its cover. Like, we can't do that now. Like, to me, I feel like she's more misunderstood, and I'm going to explain it on this video. From the very beginning, we already see and knew that Lily, she comes from a military family, basically from a military background. She has also been like a lieutenant in her father's group, I think, and her experience shaped her to be the strong and authoritative figure. But her actions were driven by a sense of duty and responsibility towards her group's survival. Like, I can understand what she's trying to do. You know, she's trying to keep them engaged. She's trying to keep her disciplined. You know, keep them, you know, with their aim when they shoot the guns and stuff like that. But she too strict with it. And I think her attitude is the reason why people hate her so goddamn much. Like, throughout the game, Lily is forced to make tough decisions to protect the damn group. Like, while some of the decisions she made may seem harsh and questionable, but like, come on, lie. It's essential to remember the dire circumstances they were all facing in the zombie apocalypse. Like, sometimes sacrifices have to be made to ensure survival of the group. Like, if like someone is going to miss a meal and people is all up in her head about it, and when they gave me the choice to say that Kitty is right or Lily's right, I literally said Lily was right. Because if we just gonna keep on fussing Kenny, if we gonna keep on arguing Kenny, if we gonna keep on arguing over the fact of who should control the group and who should not control the group, Kenny, then the group is gonna fall apart. And I agree with her on that. Like, we can't just sit here arguing. Like, sure, there gonna be some people who not gonna sit right with her decisions, but sacrifices have to be made. Another aspect to consider is the influence of her father. Like, Lily had a complex relationship with her father, who was the leader of the group before Leon came around at the drugstore. Like, her upbringing under his strict rules shaped her worldview. Like, while it doesn't justify all her actions, it helps her understand her motivation for maintaining a strong and disciplined group. Like, her father was strict as fuck. We also need to acknowledge the trauma she experienced throughout the series. The loss of her loved ones, the loss of her father, and the constant threat of death could take a toll on someone's mental and emotional well-being. Like, why you think Ben was the way he was? Like, the nigga was scared to die, and I wasn't gonna, sure, I wouldn't blame him for being scared to die, because I don't want to die either. But guess what? It's gonna happen either way. But what I mean by that is that he is afraid to get eaten up by them walkers and die a gruesome death. Like, that's all I meant. Like, these factors can lead to someone make decisions that might not align with others with their true nature. Like, her character development is not stagnant. In the final season, we see her return as a more complex and nuanced character. She reveals more remorse for her past actions and demonstrates a genuine desire to make amends. This growth also shows that she is capable and change of redemption. Like, she can redeem herself, but that's not what happened. Cause see, she out here kidnapping little kids and turn them to little bitty army soldiers. Like, she's a character who, in my opinion, has been misunderstood. Her military background, sense of duty, and traumatic experiences have shaped her into a strong, authoritative figure. While some of her actions may seem harsh, they were also driven by a desire to protect her group. Like, her character arc is also a demonstration of growth and capacity for redemption. So before we actually judge her too harshly, let's consider the complexities of her character and the challenging circumstances she faced. Like, to me, I think she's misunderstood, you know? Not many people might agree with me, but, you know, I have my opinion and y'all have y'all's. So Lily's misunderstood to me, and hell, that's it.